Right now, how a new display across from Old Brook Botanical Gardens is serving as a visual reminder of the dangers of addiction.
And an active death investigation on Madison's east side. A body discovered near Easttown Mall. What police are telling us about the case.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you for joining us tonight. If you've been down Atwood Avenue lately, just across the street from Old Brook Botanical Gardens is a white flag display.
And each flag you see represents someone who died of an overdose and the hundreds of families now living with their loss. Jamie Perez takes us up close and personal and shares the story of those left behind. Jamie?
Well, right now there are hundreds of these white flags just across the street from the Old Brook Botanical Gardens, each one of those representing someone who died from an overdose. Now, the people who started this project did it to create a network that they wish that they never had to start. And each of them are also affected by overdose or addiction in some way.
Spencer Riddell, October 6, 2016.
Hannah King, 6/16/19.
Nick Straczynski, December 2nd, 2012.
Rest in peace to you all.
These people and so many others are now written memories of what a fatal overdose looks like. It's caught the attention of people who pass by.
It breaks your heart, really.
These names, the moms, the sons, the dads, only living through the whispers of these flags.
These people, human beings that were kind, loving, good-hearted, artistic, creative, funny people, all lost, but that each of these flags represents a stone in a pond where it has rippled out and affected their friends, their families. Everyone who loved them is now dealing with profound loss.
It's a story Mary has lived since her beautiful boy Conrad died from a heroin overdose in 2015. He was 22.
It's been painful. We miss him every day.
Conrad lived with anxiety and bipolar disorder. Mary said he would talk about how it was so difficult to navigate his everyday life, that the treatment he sought never helped him overcome his mental battles. After 6 attempts in treatment, that dose in 2015 would be his last.
It was next to impossible for him to stay sober in those circumstances. Next to impossible.
This is a fight that so many people deal with every day in this community. It's the reason why Christina Vaquero at Safe Communities started this white flag movement.
Is to give affected loved ones a place to come out and remember and memorialize and be seen and heard. We hear a lot about data, but we really want to hear and see the faces and stories of those that have been lost.
It's something she holds dear to her heart.
Very emotional, walking through it and seeing the names, seeing the dates, the messages.
As a former opioid addict herself, this is a path she could have walked. But now 6 years sober, she's shifting her life toward giving those impacted by overdoses a network, one that Mary wishes she wasn't a part of.
It is very bittersweet because I don't feel like there should be new flags being added to this, and yet there are. Every single day.
January 11th, 2015.
Michelle Gower, 8/10/18.
Elizabeth Fosnow. She passed away on July 3rd, 2018.
If you take a walk down Atwood, where these flags line the street, you'll take a walk in their shoes and into the lives of their loved ones who now live with their absence every day.
It's painful from the standpoint that he's been reduced to a flag.
If you have a loved one whose name you want to put on a flag and be a part of that display, you can go to the Safe Communities office in Madison and pick one up. On Saturday, it's the International Overdose Awareness Day, and they're hosting a big event that will include these white flags. That event is made possible by the Bates family. I'll have information about that event on our website if you would like to go and remember all of the lives lost to overdose in our community.
An update to our breaking news tonight. Madison police say a death this afternoon on the city's far east side is not suspicious. Officials say a 60-year-old man was found dead outside of a business on East Washington Avenue near the McDonald's across from Easttown Mall. According to a Dane County dispatcher, the initial call came in this afternoon as a man down. Police do not suspect foul play. The medical examiner will conduct an autopsy tomorrow.
Pittsburgh police say tonight there have not been any arrests made in the homicide of 17-year-old Shay Watson, who was shot to death Sunday night on Lyman Lane. Police say it was not a random act. They don't believe there's any immediate threat to the public, but they're offering few other details. Meanwhile, Watson's friends are spending their first week of their senior year at Verona Area High School thinking of ways to honor him. They made bracelets that say "Shay" on them and say they'll remember Watson for all the ways he made them laugh.
He had a great relationship with everyone he met, and it's like I don't even know, he just is so impactful in my life, I know, and I know many others.
Verona High School observed a moment of silence during the 5th period today of classes to celebrate Watson's life. Staff read a message to students asking them to keep Watson's family, friends, and classmates in their hearts. Details for his memorial and funeral have not been released yet. The school says it will share that information when it's made available. Governor Tony Evers announced a major disaster declaration today. It's in response to last month's storms. People living in 17 counties are now able to apply for federal disaster assistance, most of them in the northern half of the state. Those storms happened July 18th through the 20th. Hundreds of thousands of trees were knocked down. More than 300,000 customers were left without power for days.
City of Madison engineers are traveling to Madison's neighborhoods hit hardest by last summer's flooding in order to find long-term solutions. Today was the first of about 30 focus group meetings. They're asking homeowners what they've experienced, along with conducting large watershed studies, looking at the submitted flooding reports online, and hearing from attendees of public information meetings. Engineers will be visiting dozens of other neighborhoods, and we'll have a list of those dates on channel3000.com. No rain for most of us today. Here's Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti with a look at your first alert forecast. Gary?
You're right, Charlotte. Most of us missed out on the rain. A few people got it, but things should be quiet overnight and from the day tomorrow. On weather track, you can see just these pop-up showers and thunderstorms. They're more prevalent in the northern half of the state, but a few of them got into southern Wisconsin. Those are out over Lake Michigan now, and that's pretty much it, at least as far as the precipitation is concerned. High temperatures today, generally in the mid to upper 70s, but those temperatures have dropped off now into the mid 50s to the mid 60s. Dew point temperatures, though, are very low, upper 40s to the lower 50s, so the air has really dried out. By tomorrow morning, temperatures will be in the mid 50s. Look for partly sunny skies tomorrow. It'll be a windy day with a high of 72. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
We are hearing today from Representative Sean Duffy and his wife Rachel. Yesterday, he announced he'll be resigning from Congress next month.
You always have to balance, the love of politics and service with family. And for me, when you look at the schedule, it's a pretty raucous schedule. I'm 4 days in D.C., and then when I'm back, this is a big district. It's all or part of 26 counties, and I have to travel a lot. And so I think that I have to take a step back and make sure I'm focusing on our family and our schedule and our other 8 kids to make sure this works.
Congressman Duffy has been representing the state's largest 7th district since 2009. He and his wife are expecting their 9th child, and yesterday he said it has a heart condition and will likely need open heart surgery early in life. A special election to fill his seat has not yet been announced.
A man and woman are in the hospital tonight with non-life-threatening injuries, recovering from a small plane crash this afternoon in Greene County. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating the crash. Madeline O'Neill explains what happened.
It's pretty unusual, I'll say, yeah.
Out here in the country between Monroe and Albany, farmer Steve Kubley is used to his peace and quiet.
Need help. It's just a real nice community.
So when he heard sirens Tuesday afternoon,
I was kind of surprised.
Even more surprised to learn a plane had crashed in his cornfield.
It's going to be for an aircraft crash. 2 subjects injured, one with an ankle injury, one bleeding from multiple places.
According to the Greene County Sheriff's Department, the pilot and passenger had been flying from Rochester, Minnesota, and mechanical issues forced them to try to divert from their original destination to the Monroe Airport, a few miles from Kubley's farm.
You can tell the plane come down and hit the corn, and it slowed down real quick.
After the crash, the pilot himself was able to call 911.
I am on scene. I got 1 male subject out by the roadway.
And technology helped first responders pinpoint the location on County Highway FF.
When they got there, they were able to extricate the pilot and the passenger from the plane.
Kubley even saw the pilot walk away from the crash.
He was very apologetic about landing in my field, and I said, well, that's the least of, our worries at this point.
While the plane took heavy damage, Sheriff Jeff Scatrud says both the pilot and passenger were alert and conscious.
You're always feeling grateful when people walk away from a plane crash. I don't know how often that happens, but that's certainly a great result.
Surprised, but happy that everybody was going to be okay.
The day has left its mark on Kubley's mind.
I'm sure, yeah, something that sticks in your mind.
In Monroe, Madeline O'Neill, News 3 Now.
While the Greene County Sheriff says he's not sure of the plane's original destination, online flight path data shows a flight from Rochester was headed to Chicago Midway and landed near the Monroe Airport.
He expects the pilot and the passenger to be identified sometime early tomorrow. Midwest Express announcing its initial flight destinations tomorrow. It's been nearly 10 years since the brand disappeared after merging with Frontier Airlines, but it is making a comeback now. Midwest Express will operate out of Milwaukee's Mitchell Airport. Flights are expected to take off sometime later this year. Still ahead tonight, an update on Tropical Storm Dorian as it nears Puerto Rico, expected to hit now in less than 24 hours.
Plus, an historic church in Philadelphia goes up in flames. The incredible video is next.
Massive fire erupted at a church. This was in West Philadelphia today. Firefighters battled the two-alarm blaze at the Greater Bible Way Temple for hours. Heavy flames could be seen shooting from the church's roof and steeple. That fire started just before 3 this afternoon. There are no reports of any injuries at this time. There is no word yet either on how that fire started.
An expansion at a youth mental health facility in Madison is being put on a temporary hold while project planners work to address concerns of those living nearby. Mendota Mental Health Institute announced last year it will be expanding, but neighbors worry a bigger facility means more traffic and safety concerns. Another worry that has been raised is the lack of input from the Ho-Chunk Nation. Anthropologists say this land is historic and important to the nation, though they said Ho-Chunk has had no say in what is done and where. This project has received state funding, but the City Plan Commission pushed their approval for 60 days, giving time for some of these concerns to be addressed. Starting tomorrow, the Oregon School District will begin taking name recommendations for a new school being built in Fitchburg. The new K-6 elementary school is going up off of Highway MM and is slated to open for classes next fall. The voting will be open through September 27th, and ideas can be submitted electronically or on a paper form. The district will compile the results to present to the board in October, where the finalists will be narrowed down.
The Trump administration wants to take millions of dollars allotted for disaster relief to support its policy of returning some migrants to Mexico. The Department of Homeland Security informed Congress of its plans to shift at least $155 million from FEMA's Disaster Relief Fund to the Immigration Enforcement Agency. According to documents, some of that money will be used for detention beds, transportation, and deportation. DHS is ultimately hoping to transfer $271 million in total. Democrats have argued against allowing ICE to increase the number of beds. They believe it will just allow the agency to detain more people. Tonight, Puerto Rico under a tropical storm warning and hurricane watch. Millions are watching Dorian as it strengthens and spins towards already devastated parts of the island. National Weather Service says Dorian may become a hurricane as it reaches Puerto Rico tomorrow. By the end of the week, what's left of Dorian is expected to move toward the Bahamas and possibly into Florida. And Gary continues to keep a close eye on what Dorian's doing down there in the Caribbean Gulf region.
Literally have the latest updates from the National Hurricane Center just received in the last 10 minutes. And let's take a look at Dorian and see where it's at right now. Maximum sustained winds about the same it's been over the last 24 hours, 50 miles per hour, moving northwest at 13 miles per hour. The track will take it almost right over Puerto Rico as a strong tropical storm with top sustained winds of about 50 miles per hour. But the more northerly track means that it'll miss Haiti and the Dominican Republic and stay out over the open waters of the Atlantic as it heads toward the Bahamas and then eventually toward Florida. And take a look here. It's now expected to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of about 75 miles per hour and probably strike the east coast of Florida around 10 p.m. on Sunday, again as a minimal hurricane, but also bringing a lot of heavy rain and some strong winds and perhaps even some tornadoes over Florida. But again, that cone of uncertainty, anywhere from southern South Carolina to the Florida Keys, that's the area, the target zone where Dorian could eventually end up. Some interesting things tonight. This is the radar from 8:45 this evening. Miller Park is right over there. They had a rain delay there. They had the shower literally popped up over Waukesha, headed eastward along I-94, and before they could close the roof at Miller Park, they actually had a 9-minute rain delay until they could they had to cover the field and get everybody off of there until they could close the roof. Second rain delay ever at Miller Park. There was one in a similar circumstance back in 2012. You can see how that shower just kind of popped up and then moved eastward along with a couple of other showers out into Lake Michigan. But now things are pretty quiet across southern Wisconsin, not seeing any rain showers across our viewing area. A little wider radar perspective, some light showers up toward the Twin Cities. That's with a reinforcing shot of cool air heading in our direction. Take a look at the time lapse from the WISC Skycam. Clear skies this morning. Then we saw some pop-up clouds, even a couple of isolated showers as those thicker clouds move through. And look what you see at the end of the time lapse, a rainbow out in the eastern sky. Rainbow at night, sailor's delight, should be a nice day for tomorrow. Live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison. Pretty quiet out there. 78 the high for today. The low temperature is 60. And right now we're at 65 degrees with clear skies. The humidity at 54%. That dew point temperature in the upper 40s. That is pretty dry here for the end of August. High temperatures today, generally in the 70s across the state. La Crosse hit 80 degrees, but it's cooled into the 50s in northern Wisconsin and generally in the 60s in southern Wisconsin. There were some strong wind gusts in the 35 to 40 mile per hour range over Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin. We could see a windy day again tomorrow with some wind gusts up in the 25 to 30 mile per hour range. And we're right underneath the jet stream. And with the air being dry, that forces the jet stream winds down toward the ground a little bit more. And so we see those stronger wind gusts. But those winds are also out of the northwest, bringing in slightly cooler air for the month of August. We normally should be in the upper 70s. Tomorrow will probably only make the lower 70s. But you can see a little trough of low pressure with those showers up to the north and west. And that will bring in another shot of cooler air. Notice it's already down to 50 degrees in International Falls, Minnesota. So the forecast overnight, mostly clear skies, a little cooler, low temperature dropping to 56. Tomorrow should be a partly sunny day, but it will be windy and cool with a high temperature of 72. Again, average high is 78. Future track, pretty quiet for tonight. Low temperatures, mid-50s. High temperatures tomorrow only making the lower 70s with brisk westerly winds. Tomorrow night, those winds start shifting to the southwest. So with low temperatures in the lower 50s, we'll warm up quickly to high temperatures near 80 on Thursday. Excuse me, as we look at the 7 to 10 day forecast, There'll be a chance for a shower or thunderstorm Thursday, a chance of some showers Friday night into Saturday, mainly south of Madison. Otherwise, look for a dry rest of the Labor Day weekend. And temperatures next week, pretty typical, mid-70s to around 80 degrees.
Wow. Okay, well, at least Labor Day looks nice.
Should be nice.
Okay, Gary, thank you.
You're welcome.
Coming up, nothing will ruin game week for Wisconsin's starting center. We'll hear from both sides of the ball after the break.
Depending on the franchise, the fourth and final preseason game isn't that important when you're evaluating key spots on the roster. It is for the Packers. They have a backup quarterback race going on. Tim Boyle's thrown 5 touchdowns and no picks in 3 preseason games. Incumbent backup Deshaun Kaiser has 1 of each, but hasn't really taken the job by the horns. Today, he said he's just looking forward to showing the decision makers one last sample of what he's all about.
Our room has goals, our room has standards, and it's about just playing to those standards every play, every rep. I don't think much has changed from training camp day one in terms of how we've distributed reps and how we've approached this competition. So it's just about making sure I go out there and once again put good things on tape.
Jim Leonard's entering his 4th season on the Wisconsin football staff, his 3rd as the defensive coordinator. After finishing 4th in total defense in 2017, the Badgers took a step back last year. Injuries and getting unexpected time from inexperienced players is part of life throughout college football. But Leonard said the good thing about this year's group is that they're not hung up on last year.
You get excited for coaches when you see players take that attitude of growth and just trying to take the next step, and that's why we like them being on the field for us, and they're becoming good leaders, I think, in our room because of that attitude and because of how they've looked back from last year, and they're hungry to turn the page and show kind of the new version of who they are.
Don't try to discourage the offensive line by telling them they're unproven as a unit after replacing 4 of 5 starters. The returning reloaded group has some experience, just not starting together in a game experience. Starting center Tyler Biadasz says that matters not.
I really love this team. We've connected a lot throughout this camp. That's truly big for us just to connect, and I think we're very grateful that we get to play with each other, and we're really excited. Like I can't express that enough. Like, we're excited to play.
The Brewers have 31 games left to make a move. Any move. 5 back of the Cardinals in the NL Central race, 2.5 behind the Cubs for the second wildcard spot entering play tonight. The aforementioned Cardinals are looking for some more breathing room. The Cardinals catcher Yadier Molina maybe teeing it up on the 18th hole in his career. Doesn't hit many homers. He has 3 in the last 2 nights, 3 of his 7 of the year. This one gives the Cardinals a 3-1 lead. It's 4-1 St. Louis, bottom of the 8th. Yasmani Grandal trying to lead a comeback. His 21st, but the Brewers would not score again. 6-3 the final. Cardinals go for the sweep tomorrow afternoon. Cubs and Mets. Madison Mallards alum Pete Alonso won the home run derby. Tonight he hit his 42nd of the season, breaking the Mets' single-season franchise record. I would say that's worth a curtain call for the 2014 Northwoods League Player of the Year. Javier Baez was not impressed. 3 for 3, a homer and 2 doubles. Cubs win 5-2 in the Big Apple. Moves like Jagger. How about moves like McMahon? Ryan McMahon hits a walk-off homer for the Rockies, and then you're going to get the traditional Gatorade shower. Unless you're young and you have moves like McMahon. Gets out of the way. They'd get him with a little bit at the end, but I think he won. It's not the traditional getting dunked. We're back right after this.
Oh, with the deke right there.
Gary's here with the final check.
Well, things pretty quiet out there tonight. The showers are just about over with over most of the state of Wisconsin. They're out over Lake Michigan now. Temperatures mid-50s to the mid-60s, depending on how skies have cleared out. But those dew point temperatures are in the upper 40s. Very refreshingly dry air out there. High temperature tomorrow, 72, will be windy again. 80 for a high on Thursday with a slight chance of a late afternoon shower or thunderstorm. Another chance of showers from Friday night into Saturday, mainly south of Madison. The rest of the Labor Day weekend dry, and temperatures next week between about 75 and 80.
All right. Not too bad for the holiday weekend, too. Gary, thank you. And thanks for joining us tonight for News 3 Now at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.